Hey guys, welcome to Operation Crypto. Price analysis and some thoughts on Bitcoin and the general crypto markets as a whole today. We'll start off by looking at a Bitcoin chart, so then we'll just have a talk through some different scenarios that could happen. I mean, I'm still wavering on the cautious side of bullish, but I am still within the thoughts that we could have a potential another push down. I don't think that we'll revisit 15k again. I just don't think that will happen, but you just never know in cryptocurrency, do you? So let's have a look at the charts. This is the daily time frame Bitcoin chart and the Binance. It has predominantly most of that volume, and we had that big breakout of that falling wedge. We pushed up and we've been all the way up to test 25k. I want to first start off by the word indecision, and if we look at the last monthly candle for Bitcoin, I mean, you can give it a name if you want. It's a long-legged doji candle. We had a massive push to the upside to 25k, and we also had a drop down to 21,300, and we pretty much finish where we finished off on the previous month. So it's like I say, the word indecisive is what that candle shows you. It shows you that people are hesitant to buy, but also still shows you that, in my opinion, I don't think retail are even considering buying yet. What we have now is people who are hardcore Bitcoiners, hardcore crypto enthusiasts, are the ones that are currently buying and the ones that really believe in the asset. We are nowhere near retail coming back to the markets. And it is at that period now where people think, right, March, usually a bearish month, or is it usually a bearish month? I mean, it's again indecision with the markets. If we take a look at this is the Bitcoin monthly returns, and I mean, yes, March is that month when we have had more red than green. I mean, out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 months, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those have been red. I mean, it's not an overwhelming majority, but it's just over 50%, isn't it, so far? So, well, just more than that, but it still shows that even though people seem to think March is very bearish, although it does look like it here, look at January. That had a massive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 starting months of red. And then look at that, at a 39% move within January. So it's just very, very indecisive at the minute. I mean, if you look throughout the entire year, I mean, if you're pushing towards April, you could call that April as a bullish month. So potentially we could have that drop back now. I don't know, push down towards that 20k region, which is a historical support level because it was an all-time high, which, I mean, 20k is a nice round number too. So like I say, it's still very, very unknown what's going to happen. But for me, I think we may have a little bit of a red month, just dropping in towards a minus 5, minus 10% month, and then I think we'll rally within towards April. The old saying of selling may and go away, again, if you look at the data, it doesn't suggest that it should go away. I mean, some months are bullish, some months are bearish. I mean, it doesn't give you the most accurate representation of what's to come, that chart, but it just shows you some numbers there that is always, there's nothing to follow in terms of month, if you know what I mean. But going back to the charts there, that is that monthly candle which has been, let's say, indecisive. I want to have another look at a couple of things which will show the bullish side of things. And I did this chart ages ago, probably last November, and said, look, usually within Bitcoin cycles, from the all-time high, so if you look back to 2013 to the low, it's around a month, around a year. That was actually 14 months. But then if you look into 2017, the all-time high, we then rejected. The bottom was 12 months after that. And then if you look at this current high, which was at 69k, it was just slightly after 12 months, and then we started to push up. If you look here, we started to push up after that drop down. If you look at this drop down here, we started to push up. And again, so far we have started to push up, and we've started with a monster candle in January, which just show that 2023 may not be as bad as some expect. Given the macro outlook across the globe is diabolical. We've had quantitative tightening within the US, which has strengthened the DXY, the dollar, and that in turn has pulled stocks down and pulled crypto down with it. We have been correlated to the US, you can't get away from that, but there is that possibility as a global asset that we still have the narrative that can be pushed from the east. I know a lot of people have been talking about the China narrative, but for me, I really think that is something that could happen. Remember, China banned Bitcoin, they banned mining. We saw pictures plastered all over the social media about these mining farms and mining rigs just getting crushed and demolished. And there's nothing to say that won't come back. There's nothing to say that China can't be a leading force in crypto gain in the future. You just never know, do you? Hong Kong is a country which has been against it, but they are starting to regulate cryptocurrency, and within, I think it's June the 1st, they will also offer retail buyers. So people will be able to buy Bitcoin and Ethereum and potentially some other caps. What's to say that can't be the test pilot for China to come back online and then start to purchase back into Bitcoin? Or it could just be a backdoor for China to buy within Hong Kong to get onto the ladder. We have been actually quite correlated with the Chinese markets over the course of the last, since November. And we have not been correlated to US markets. So obviously we have been getting pulled down when the dollar's been pumping and vice versa, but in terms of correlation, we have been more inclined to be towards those Eastern markets. So just a few things for you to note there. Going back to this chart, I think it is. Let me have a quick look here on the daily time frame. I'm just going to drop right down to the hourly actually. We still have a potential head and shoulders, that's ignore that cock. We still have the potential head and shoulders here. Is the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder potentially forming. So short term, we could look for a dump. We could go down towards this 20k region, like I mentioned earlier. A drop down to 20k, pick up some liquidity, and then blast off towards the end of 2022. I do not know what's going to happen. Like I say, I'm leading on the side of bullishness in the longer term perspective, because I think that this chart here, with the yearly drops, I think that is something that we have to believe in. I mean, we have to believe that these cycles are here within cryptocurrency, and there's nothing to tell us that these cycles have failed yet. So for me, I'm like I say, I'm on that side of bullishness. Given short term, we could drop down to 19, 20, 18k, who knows, but I don't think we'll revisit those levels, and I quite frankly do not think that we will go below those levels again. I might be wrong, but that's just my thoughts. I don't think we will revisit down there again. Potentially, in the coming months, what's to say, there's been big talks of World War III, hasn't there? There's been big talks of China backing Russia, and you never know what goes on. Imagine if Russia came out victorious in Ukraine, what would happen next? I think that would be bad for the world, and things would just start to get heated up, and especially in financial markets, we could see something like a COVID crash that happened, and we could just get a nasty drop down before ultimately going back up. But again, that's just been, you're just guessing really. So that is just something, we always have these black swan events. We have things that happen globally that can cause severe stress on the markets, and you can't take that away, but it is what it is. I mean, looking back at this chart now, we have broken out of that wedge. That is a good bit of structure we've formed now. We have found a higher high there, higher low. We've formed a higher low here. So the next port call really would be towards pushing up towards this level of resistance at 26,700-ish, and then forming that higher high again, and then we would form some bullish structure for us to push up. But let's wait and see. I'm not giving any concrete evidence to which way the market's going to go, because if somebody's telling you, right, Bitcoin's going to go to 30k tomorrow, they're just guessing out there. So some thoughts either side of the narrative there. I mean, in terms of bearish narrative, we've given the fact that who knows what can happen in world black swan events, and then bullish narratives, we've given a couple of patterns and a couple of cycle theories there. So that's my thoughts on the market today. If you do like what I've been covering, please make sure that you do hit that like button, make sure that you are subscribed, and I'll catch you next time.